Hello and welcome to my world. A couple of weeks ago, I found a box of VHS tapes and went through to see what was in there and recounted some of my memories regarding the movies in question, or if I have or if I have not watched them. And I did mention that there were more boxes and stuff full of tapes, and here's another one. And I'll be doing the same thing here. We'll be going through it, see what I remember about the films, if I watched them or whatnot. And in some cases, I might be able to place when they were, who they were purchased for, and who actually bought which ones. Because there is one film in this box that I know for a fact I have two copies of on VHS. Anyway, but before we get to that, as you can tell down here in the corner, this video is sponsored by our friends at HelloFresh, who is running a campaign through Stream Elements, the streaming assistant tool that I use as it pertains to alerts, notifications, overlays, and things of that sort. HelloFresh is running a promotion where you can get 21 free meals plus free shipping and handling if you use the promo code POGHF64483 over at HelloFresh.com when checking out, or by signing up using my affiliate link will be in the description below. So this way you can save money and get some good food and recipes from HelloFresh. Again, if you do that and sign up, that supports the channel. And as you know, there's a lot of things going on personally. So your support would be greatly appreciated. There you go. So with that said, let's start going through this box and we'll pull out, I guess we'll do these in threes. First and foremost, we got Pokemon, the first movie. This is actually a tape that was purchased from my brother. However, I saw the movie itself in theaters at the Lowe's Theater in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And what I remembered about seeing it in the theater, because it was A, it was packed, and B, when Ash looked like he got killed, boy, that considering how many kids were in the theater, yeah, everybody there were tears all over the place on that one. So it's like that hit hard for a lot of kids, like seeing Ash get killed on the big screen. Who would have thought that, like, 20 some odd years later, eventually he would be, the character would be removed as being the lead protagonist in the show, finally. My Dog Skip, starring Frankie Muniz, I can safely say I have never watched this movie. This was clearly a tape that was purchased for my younger brother. My brother Leo is 7 years younger than I am. And I can kind of guess as to why this was gotten for him, because he really enjoyed a lot of shows that were airing on Fox, Malcolm in the Middle being one of them. He was also big into watching that 70s show, too, in its early seasons. So, but I say I've never watched this. Tom and Jerry, the movie. This is the one where they talk and have the musical number about friends. I have seen this, and I've always kind of viewed it as being like Warner Brothers Animation wanting to do their take on the Rescuers, which was a film done by Disney in the late 70s. But but Warner Brothers wanted to put existing characters with it, not create characters, and so okay. Tom and Jerry gets thrown in there because it's essentially the same plot as the Rescuers, to some degree. We got Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, which one of the last films that Rick Moranis has done, as far as I know. I know we picked this up randomly because it's like we knew of Honey, I Shrunk the Kid and Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Matter of fact, I'm old enough to have seen both of those movies in theaters. So we saw this one on the shelves one day, and it's just like, huh, there was a third movie? This clearly was made with a made-for-TV budget, or made for the Disney Channel in its own way. Um, I kind of joke that this is essentially Rick Moranis wants a paycheck, but but at the same time, it does make me wonder though, because by the time this came out, there was the Honey I Shrunk the Kids television series that was airing, I think, on the Disney Channel, and I think also in syndication to some extent. I would have thought like a made for TV film would have gone more in line with the TV show instead of tying into the continuity of the films. But I guess if they got since they got Mr. Moranis for it, I guess that's the case there. Not one, but two copies of Space Jam on VHS. I obviously have seen this film at least once, about several times. But I know why why we have two copies. One was purchased by my dad at his house, and the other one was at my mom's apartment. So there were two copies there. And why you're asking that is, my mom and dad were never really together for any real stretch of time, but it was. But essentially, one copy was mine and one was my brother's because of the different locations. So that's how we kind of divided up there. But still, Space Jam itself holds up pretty nicely. My favorite scene is where Wayne Knight's character goes and picks up Jordan and runs through all the things that he's telling Jordan to do that's tied into his sponsorship deals, like put your hands on, lace up your Nikes, grab your Gatorade, we'll pick up a Big Mac on the way to the ballpark. And the ballpark one is probably something that most people will not get to know what is today, but Ballpark Franks was a brand of hot dogs that Michael Jordan was the spokesman for, particularly when he was during his time playing baseball. Now imagine if it wasn't for the 94 strike, Jordan could have possibly played in the majors in 1995 instead of returning to the NBA. Dragon Ball Z, Lord Slug Uncut, with obviously the music from Disturbed and the Deftones and things of that sort. This was my brother's film. Funny enough, I have never seen the normal version of Lord Slug. I've only seen the Dragon Ball Z abridged version, which obviously hits all the high points and everything. But yeah, maybe at some point I'll sign up for, if things settle down, I'll sign up for Crunchyroll and sit down and actually watch the Lord Slug. The Big Green, this is film. This tape was clearly purchased from my younger brother. I would not have sat down and watched this or even wanted to see it. All I know about it, it's your typical kids sports movie underdog stories. So when they tie it in as being from the people that brought you Angels in the Outfield, that's all I know. The Land Before Time 2, The Great Valley Adventure. This is the one where I remember we rented this first, because I know we had the original Land Before Time on VHS, but beyond that, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe we did, or we rented that and then we picked this one up, one way or the other. But what I remember about this one is they go because in the original Land Before Time they get to the Great Valley, and then this takes place after that, and the little kid dinosaurs get curious about what's beyond it, and they end up luring in a couple of Tyrannosauruses and finding a baby T-Rex named Chomper. So cute. The Land Before Time films were pretty always looked good. Even the made for VA direct to video ones. The animation was always pretty good. So that's the end of the top row here. We got Casper. Seeing is Believing. I remember seeing this in theaters. My dad took me to see it. And as a kid, obviously, I would have had a huge crush on Christina Ricci, in it, because. But I remember this was actually pretty good. They definitely found a way to modernize Casper and really they took a lot in as relates to working in some of the logic from the Ghostbuster movies into it, which makes sense because Dan Aykroyd makes a cameo as Ray Stantz. But a lot of the psychology and things, or the parapsychology that Bill Pullman's character had, states as it relates to the trying to deal with the Casper's three uncles, Stretch, Stinky, and Fatso, were kind of makes sense, particularly when you realize some of that logic is based on what was established in the Ghostbusters films, which I don't think there's any other connection there. Because this was what, through MCA Universal? But that said, I remember the cartoon that this led to, which was really good, airing on Fox Kids, and that's an idea for a tier list. Fox Kids cartoons and ranking. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, and which clearly has its own continuity because it introduces the Ninja Zords like a bit before those said Zords are used on the cartoon show and the ninja powers. Some folks have questions as it relates to why didn't the helmets change, which actually is a very, very good question. I did not see this in theaters. Only the first time I saw it was on VHS, and I think the first time I saw it, well, I think it may have been a bootleg copy. This is the genuine tape and everything of it too, released through Fox Video. I was also kind of disappointed though, because I was like to see Rita and Lord, like looking back on it, Rita and Lord Zed and basically being taken out of the picture so early, being made almost redundant. And then you also realize that some of the other key components of the show was not really used. Squat, Babu, Finster were not involved, or at least they were, or they were like in the background. Because they had this weird pig creature that was not in the show. But one thing I can safely say about this movie, the CGI does not hold up at all. All right, this is a box set. The Simpsons Political Party box set. So it's a three tape set. Volume 1 has Sideshow Bob Roberts and Trash of the Titans. Volume 2 has Two Bad Neighbors, which is the Homer versus George Bush one, and Dufflish. And Volume 3 has I Love Lisa, which is the one where Ralph has that crush on Lisa and has that great scene as George Washington in the school play at the end. And The Trouble with Trillions. So a box set of Simpsons videos. Now a political, and this came out in 2000, so this would have been tied into, this box set would have been released in correlation with the 2000 presidential elections. So you have, because that was the election with George W. Bush and Al Gore, and there was a lot of hubbub with how hotly contested that was. Now it's funny, you got Homer on the front, Marge on the spine, Bart on the back, or vice versa, depending on one's point of view. Lisa is on the top, and Maggie is not represented at all on this. But It's definitely a great little collection of episodes that were focused on that had some sort of political connection or something associated with government. Oh wait, there's actually the two rolls now. More than one. Chippendale's Rescue Rangers Double Trouble. Wow, I didn't even know we had this. And someone marking it half off sale on it. And the thing on it, this tape is so old, is it's coming off. What episode's on this? And Dale beside himself, Dale mistakes an alien spaceship for the world's biggest walnut. Okay, I know that episode. It's like there's two Dales and they use a the other Dale is a little alien running around, and Flash the Wonder Dog is dognapped by the jealous fat cat and his gang of goons. All disguised as Flash. So I don't remember that particular episode, but still, again, I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of wish the front of it was marked up like that because this would have been great. But I did not know that we actually had this. I honestly didn't. Black Beauty, a Hanna-Barbera presentation, and obviously this is copyright has a copyright in 1978. I remember actually seeing this in school. Like I think it was like first or second grade. That's where I would have watched this originally. Like sometimes back in the days, like they were rolling the TV, you get to watch a movie of some sort. So that's more like it would have been on a Friday afternoon. Also saw like Charlotte's Web, like that too. But yeah, it's been ages since I've watched this. I do wonder if it's available digitally somewhere. It has to be. Let's toss that here. Wow, this actually takes me back. Sesame Street, a Golden Book video. Wow, this was released in 1985. Once I learned how to work a VCR, I watched this tape a lot. It was this and a Cat in the Hat tape that had something with the Sneetches. And the Starbelly beaches. Only Starbellies got to be on the beaches. I think they also had a green eggs in hand, but that's not pertaining to this one here. But oh wow, this takes me back a long. This takes me back a long ways. I mean, a very, very long ways. It was only 30 minutes long too, and it was treated as like a golden book of video because it was presented as an actual book with like the images from like I think the word I don't remember if I had the books that these were based on. I don't remember that much because it's art and characters from the best loved books come to life through songs, video, voices. Yeah, because these were adapting the golden because the golden books were like these little kids books that had like a little gold spinach and they were very short, very adorable, and wow, I was like, there's some memories there. We got some more kid movies. Superstar cartoon Betty Boop's Crazy Town, Be Human, Hot Air Salesman, and Betty Boop's Rise to Fame. Black and white. I don't remember the individual episodes themselves, but I do remember we had a bunch of these tapes with this. Were a bunch of old cartoons. A lot of it was, I think, the Fleischer Studio stuff that's not tied to Warner Brothers or Disney, like the other animation studios. I think we had Little Lulu or Casper. Maybe those would turn up in these boxes. But yeah, this would have been my introduction to Betty Boop as a kid, and definitely would have been got. I know we got these tapes in the late '80s, like '88, like '87, '88, '89, when I was living like in Marlton as a kid. So, and looking at the design of Betty Boop on the cover here, it's like it's so obvious that she was is like she was initially designed to be like a humanish with a dog like head. Looking at it now, but they certainly made her more human as her design went along. Gandy Goose, Life of the Dingbat and Friends. Oof. Clearly would have gotten this 1988. I don't remember any of these cartoons at all. I remember watching this tape a lot as a youth, as they say. Oh, wow. Superman. And volume 2 of this was also Hepcap Entertainment. Again, so this would have been like a lot of this appears to be like a lot of the Fleischer Studio stuff. The Mummy Strike, Superman, Jungle Drums. Okay, so I guess the Fleischer Studio stuff wasn't public domain, or people were getting access to them to make like various to cash in on it. So near as I can remember, this was probably my introduction to the earliest Superman cartoons. Because so there's that. We got 3 more tapes on this row here. An American Tail, 50 Goes West. I do remember seeing this in theaters. I saw this in theaters, and I know we got the tape. And what else was I do? And I remember the animated series that this led to as well. I think what the one joke or line from it that stands out to me is the fat orange cat coming across some Native American mice is like, "How do you do?" So that sticks stands out to me as well. So again, I remember enjoying this quite a lot. Ew. Another tape I definitely remember. It's an educational favorite, and it involves Bill Cosby. And it was like the tortoise in the hair. There was a bunch of. Yeah, so we're not going to touch on Mr. Cosby's exploits or anything of that sort, but as an adaptation of the Tortoise and the Hare, and I think there may have been 2 shorts on it too, but I'm not 100% sure. But I do remember me and my brother, because we would have gotten this tape like after my brother was born. So this would be something that we put on every so often. Ooh, and this is taking me back again to like 87, 88, 89, like before my brother was born. There were the Walt Disney Cartoon Classics line, and I had a couple of these tapes as a kid. I think one was Donald exclusively, but I do remember the distinct cartoons. Don Donald, which actually introduced Donald Duck as a pretty Spanish senorita, while Donald is coming to take her along on a car ride, and all sorts of things go wrong. Donald's Double Trouble, where Donald uses a lookalike to try to pretend more sophisticated and such, to try and woo Daisy. And Donald's Diary was basic. Donald's Diary. This is like where he dreams of a married life with his wife and kids is a life filled nightmare. That's what the description of it. But I don't remember anything that stood out. That is setting bound. And this going by the images on the back of it, I don't remember that third cartoon. The first two I distinctly remember. You had because the one with the double trouble kind of had like a Prince Pauper vibe. With like you had the sophisticated version of Donald. It was like dude just looks like Donald and just wooing Daisy, and the jealousy that Donald ends up having over his own scheme, almost backfiring. Oh, we got more. We got more. I was right. I didn't know because I'm going through this box. We do have The Land Before Time on VHS. Only an hour and 9 minutes. Wow, it's really that short. But this would have came out in 1994, so it's not the. I don't think it's not the original VHS. At least I don't think. But the whole thing was Littlefoot and the journey from getting from this little odd herd of dinosaurs of different types getting across. Sarah being a little bitch, so which is kind of like her familiar trademark. We got Pocahontas on VHS, and I did see this in theaters. My grandmother Zena took me to see it. Matter of fact, there was a time like for my grandma took me to the theaters again. Again, folks know I recently turned 40 back in December of 2022. So, but my grandma was like, took me to see a lot of the big Disney films. Like she took me to see this. She took me to see Lion King, Mulan. Like it was for a time there. It was almost like an annual tradition. As far as Pocahontas, as the is it historically accurate? Hell no. Is it fine for what it is in the context of a Disney film? Yeah, it's fine. It's fine as long as you don't try and say, oh, look into the historical inaccuracies. Oh wait, again, here's the other one. So we had the other one with was Donald and Daisy focus. This is again from the Disney's Cartoon Classics line, which has wide open spaces where Donald is trying to find a place to get some sleep after a long night on the road. Donald's ostrich. I don't remember it as well. And Crazy with the Heat, Donald of the Desert and his Doom Buddy Goofy. I don't remember that one. The only one of the three cartoons on this tape that I remember is Wide Open Spaces, because that was Donald is trying to get to the motel. There was no vacancies. He ends up underwater. There's like a little blow up air mattress goes awry, and I think at the very end he ends up in a tree. So of the three cartoons on this tape, I only remember one. But again, I know for a fact this tape would have gotten in our collection and would have been picked up like 86, 87. No, it was like 87, 88, 89. Because I would watch it. Definitely had that before my brother was born. Digging down even further. Winnie the Walt Disney mini classics. Winnie the Pooh and A Day for Eeyore. I don't remember this one at all. I think this would have been, as far as I know, this will more likely would have been purchased after my brother was born. But I don't remember it. Okay, Cartoon Classics featuring Casper the Friendly Ghost. And again, couldn't remember the three cartoons here: The Friendly Ghost, Boom Moon, and Balloon Land. I know Boom Moon somehow Casper would have ended up on the moon. But again, classic Fleischer cartoons, and this also proves to me takes it back as it relates to Okay, Warner Brothers stuff would not have been included on this, but this has Porky Pig, and are specifically selected public domain works. It actually, so some of the, so I guess some early Porky Pig was in the public domain. So this has Porky's Preview, Porky's Pig Feet, Get Witch, Quick Porky, and Robinson Crusoe Jr. So how would this have been ended up in the public domain of sorts? Again, it literally says it down here at the bottom. I didn't notice it. And again, black and white stuff there. So kind of cool. Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. My mom, who is fighting cancer at this time, she loved this movie. She really did. She loved Mr. Magoo as a character, a crotchety, nearsighted old man, and this would have been my introduction to Mr. Magoo, because after that we would have I would have seen some of his cartoon shorts, and I didn't realize he was intentionally meant to be like nearsighted or practically blind and getting up to various hijinks. But yeah, again, my mom, like one of her favorite cartoons was Mr. Magoo. So I know, I remember distinctly when she saw this on the video store. It was like got it and watched it the same day. It was, oh boy, Heckle and Jekyll. And there's no listing of which cartoons are on it, but Heckle and Jekyll were, again, a couple of, I think they originated with MGM. There were a couple like a mischievous crows and everything, but they had like a sophisticated type of attitude to them, so they weren't like, they couldn't really be associated with. I think they, unfortunately, Heckle and Jekyll as characters kind of got lumped in with the crows of Dumbo, and it's like that depiction of it. Because I don't remember anything about Heckle and Jekyll's dialogue or actions that kind of could have made them think that they were stand-in stereotypes for anything. But the list of cartoons on this one on the front. This has the Talking Magpies, You Can't Shoot a Horsefly, Jungle Jitters, Cheeseburglar, and it's kind of cool to have there. It's like, oh yeah, Heckle and Jekyll, I remember it. And this is also from the same cartoon line. And I guess, which does, again, much like those Superstar tapes, this one is selected works are available, are public domain and not licensed or authorized by the original copyright holders. Because here's some Elmer Fudd ones. A tape, again same distribution line, or people put these tapes together. What's on this one? Corny Concerto, Nichintine, and Wacky Wabbit. So that actually raises a lot of questions regarding Warner Brothers and protecting the Looney Tunes properties. If folks were able to get their hands on some things that fell into the public domain, that really raises some questions there and so forth. We got 6 more tapes in here, again from the Superstar line, and this would have been early Bugs Bunny. Case of the Missing Hair, Corny Concerto, which is also on the Elmer Fudd tape, and Inky and the Mina Bird. I don't know what that one is, but the Corny Concerto, I remember that one, and the reason why I know that one so well, because that's one where Elmer is a conductor, and there's these 3 musical shorts, and one of them is Blue Danube. Which actually is a real beautiful one, where this little black duckling basically turns into a fighter jet to protect the the siblings that he wants to be associated with, or at least it's kind of close cross with the ugly ducking and type of story there. Anyway, but yeah, but so it's like Bugs Bunny, and that artwork for Bugs Bunny is like early Bugs, like real early. Here he comes to save the day. And this falls in line with the Elmer Fudd and Heckle and Jekyll tape, Mighty Mouse. And I know this would have been my introduction to Mighty Mouse and Wolf Wolf, the Big Bad Wolf, Small Fry, You Can't Shoot a Horsefly. Small Fry was on this one. Because they picked as Mighty Mouse and Friends, so there would have been one Mighty Mouse cartoon on this, but Small Fry, I think is a short with a fish that wants to be a big fry and goes to a pool hall and then gets scared shitless and goes running home to his mom. Can appreciate that. So, again, tapes like these would have been, again, my introduction to a lot of early cartoons. Oh, wow. Just raise the question. It's like, how much of Warner Brothers' library ended up being is in the public domain actually, as it pertains to the Looney Tunes. I do remember this tape specifically Daffy Duck and the Dinosaur, where it's like a prehistoric caveman wakes up. He has like a brontosaurus has like kind of like a pet dog named Fido. He wants to have duck for dinner, and at the very end, he gets blown. He ends up being blown up and ending up floating on a cloud. I think Daffy and he also ends up floating on a cloud with a halo as well. The impatient patient to duck or not to duck and Yankee Doodle Daffy, I do not remember. But again, this is a tape I know I was watching before my brother was even born. So there so it has some fond memories of watching it, but it's only one cartoon on it I remember. Last three tapes in here. Remember? Ooh, wow. All right, remember we were talking about the when I realized we had that Sesame Street Golden Book one. This is the tape that has the green. It has Cat in the Hat. It has the green eggs and ham, and it has the Sneetches with the star bellies, and they're feuding with the non-star bellies, and the machine comes along. That was on here. As well as the Cat in the Cat presentation. This was again. I watched this a lot, a hell of a lot as a very young me. Um, it's I have very fond memories. I also have like what the Zacks on there, where two stubborn creatures like encounter each other and they refuse to get out of the way, and the roads are built up all around them. But yeah, this definitely fond memories watching this. Dr. Seuss's The Cat in the Hat, fully animated. Okay, this is just a re-release of a different version of okay, this is my brother's tape. This because my brother's name is on it actually. So my brother would have gotten this. This would have gotten from my brother somewhere in the like early '90s. But but this was the one I knew we had. I did not know about this one. But this was my brother's. This was a tape that was purchased for my brother. And last but not least, Care Bears in the Land Without Feelings. Care Bears were awesome. It's I guess it was like a made-for-TV special or direct-to-video. But one thing I recognize is that For Home Entertainment logo here at the very bottom, because that they also did a home release of a lot of the early Ninja Turtle episodes, and released distributed it through MCM distribution. So, but do I remember anything distinctly about this? No, but I know we had a strong appreciation for the Care Bears, specifically the second Care Bears movie. So, well, took about 40 minutes to go through every tape in this box, and obviously me ranting and what I remember, and trying to remember place when some of these tapes were gotten and what I can remember. But now I get the fun of putting these all back in the box. So anyway, so if you actually made it to the very end, thank you very much. If you remember any of the tapes that we went through, leave them in the leave your thoughts and so forth in the comment section. I'd love to read what you thought of, or what you remember about watching any of these if you had them in your collections. So till next time, have a good one, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.